Hi, welcome to 2011 Studies. My name is Marty. I'm going to let you know ahead of time that this is going to be the last study. I'm suspending the studies for now. I might post a couple of music videos still. There's also reimagined music on YouTube, reimagined music, and I put some covers on there. I've been praying, God willing, at one point I'll be able to continue this again. And it's been going since 2011 or before 2011, when the book Countdown came out, and I just have been really blessed to be able to present these studies because in the world of no more salvation teaching that's going on right now, and how some people are jumping on the bandwagon for that, it's amazing to me that some people are still teaching this regardless of what the scriptures say. Let's see, I wanted to just cover some stuff really quick. We know that there's two tribulation periods. The 8,400 days was not the Great Tribulation period. That is identified as the time of Jacob's trouble. It's a 7-year period. We're in the midst of that right now. I believe that from 2011 to 2018, from the earliest study that I posted on that was 2018, a year of possibility. And it really has grown since then, with a lot of information about the years of Darius, with the book 7 Years to a Better Tomorrow explaining a lot of that. So I wanted to recap a little bit here and then touch just a little bit on what I left off on the last study, not to leave everything hanging like that. But please stay subscribed to the channel, and hopefully, God willing, that I'll be able to continue this again. And in the meantime, if you want to email me, 2011studies@gmail.com, I might be able to do like email studies and do it that way. The early and latter rains. This is a very important aspect of the final period that we're in, the 3.5 years right now, up until 2018. And I know some people are teaching right now that the time of Pentecost in 2018 is the last day. Absolutely not. I'll show in this study that it's the number 17 that shows up from 2011 to Pentecost 2018. It shows the number 17, and that means a time of great salvation, and that makes perfect sense because it lands on Pentecost. I think 17 and 18 are going to be really good years of salvation. The time of the early and latter rains has begun. I really believe that. I think we're entering into this period of time. We are now entering into a time when God will be unfolding these things at the end. There will be physical aspects of these periods of rain due to the pattern of Elijah. This is 1 Kings 18:45. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heavens was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. So that great rain is emphasized as a physical rain. And there could be a parallel there as God, pours forth his understanding and an absolute physical rain around the world. I think we're starting to see some of that. I've seen some lands that are just getting deluged with water. Now we were told in the context of James 5, in the context of the coming of Christ in the period prior to his grand coming on the last day, that God waits for the early and latter rains to produce the precious fruit of the earth, salvation of his elect. Nothing can stop these rain periods. They are valuable in that God's understanding will flow forth with great power. And since we've been in a time of Jacob's trouble this last 7 years, and we're in the midst of it right now, it's welcome that his rain periods will come forth. And we can thank God for his word on that. Now this is James 5:7. Talked about this verse many times on this channel. Be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waits for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receives the early and latter rain. Be also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Now we know from past studies that Elijah prayed for no rain for 3.5 years. This is what James talks about. He prayed again, and rain came. So this section of the 7 years of 3.5 and 3.5 is very important. Let's see, this is Nehemiah and Ezra. We've discussed how Nehemiah and Ezra, who Ezra brought the statutes and judgments related to the time we are now living. But we have to keep in mind that God is the one who builds the wall and saves by his Spirit to bring forth statutes and judgment. For more information on that, I have the whole study of the Tirshatha, Nehemiah the Wall Builder, on 1335days.com. I haven't removed that, and I haven't really added to that because I wanted to make sure that that was known, that God is the one who does this and builds the wall of salvation. That was posted March 16, 2014. The book 7 Years to a Better Tomorrow goes into great detail about this too, how it's all God's actions. Now there's a date I wanted to look at really quick, and this was when Ezra was sent forth to establish the law in Jerusalem, the statutes and judgment, in 458 BC. I want to read some verses first though. This is God's action by his Spirit. The spiritual wall of salvation. Psalm 51, 15 through 18. O Lord, open thou my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else I would give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O God, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion. Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Now here we're talking about a very physical aspect, of a very real aspect of God's Spirit saving people and building the wall of Jerusalem. And actually, when you think about that in Revelation, the bride of Christ is called the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven. So we have this whole relationship with God's Spirit doing this. Isaiah 60:18, violence shall no more be heard in the land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy wall salvation and thy gates praise. This is Zechariah 2:4 through 5. And he said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle there. For I, saith the Lord, will be great under her. For I, saith the Lord, will be under her a wall of fire round about, and I will be the glory in the midst of her. Isaiah 26:1 through 4. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation God will appoint for the walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever. For in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. Now this is God's actions in relation to what Ezra did as he went to bring the statutes and judgment and teach the statutes and judgment in Jerusalem. Ezra 7:8 through 10. And he came to Jerusalem in the 5th month, which was in the 7th year of the king. For upon the first day of the 1st month began he to go up from Babylon, and on the first day of the 5th month came he to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his God upon him. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord, and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and judgments. Now, we historically see that from 458 BC as he was sent forth to do that, as he went to Jerusalem to do that. But we also, at the end of time, see that God is the one who does that. And this is a key factor of God's Spirit still saving. Ezekiel 36:24 through 28. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols I will cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. So there you go. That's God's action. He puts His Spirit in people. He teaches them the statutes and judgment, and it just comes forth. Now, from 458 BC, the time Ezra was sent forth by the king Artaxerxes, to 2018, it is 2,475 years. And that is 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 11. 11 is always related to the coming of Christ, the first coming and the second coming. 458 BC, the time Ezra was sent forth by the king Artaxerxes, 2017 to 2017 is 2,474 years, and that's just a doubling of 2 times 1237. Now there's another reason why I believe 2017 and 18 will be a time of great worldwide salvation. And that has to do with the number 17 that comes up, and I will show that in just a second. I wanted to cover some other verses really quick. The year of my redeemed and the day of vengeance. We have also looked at the year of my redeemed and the day of vengeance. These two phrases are important in the next few years. Now, keep in mind when I'm reading Isaiah 63 that it is God is trampling in fury. He is the one who's doing this, and Christ is the one who's doing this. And the point of the year of my redeemed has come is in verse Isaiah 63 verse 4. Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there is none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled on my garments. And I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I will look, and there was none to help. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. Now during this time of great tribulation, this time of Jacob's trouble, there's a promise that Jacob will be saved out of it. This is incredible because it's God's promise to his people. Jacob is Israel, and the Israel of God is every believer worldwide. Jeremiah 37, alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, that's like great tribulation, and he shall be saved out of it. Now, in the last study, we looked at the word consumption, and this is a very important word, and I wish I had more time to do this. I really do. I was getting into a study and looking at how this consumption seems to be around the year 2018, and how it really relates to God's righteousness coming in and flooding in. So we looked at consumption. This is Isaiah 10:21. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty God. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord God of hosts shall make a consumption, even determined in the midst of the land, in the midst of all the land. Sometimes that word land is translated as earth. Isaiah 10:24. Therefore saith the Lord God of hosts, O my people that dwell in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian. He shall smite thee with a rod, he shall lift up his staff against thee, after the manner of Egypt. For yet a very little while, and the indignation shall cease, and my anger in their destruction. And the Lord of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him. That would be talking about the Assyrian, which is a picture of Satan himself. And the Lord of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him according to the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb. And his rod, and as his rod was upon the sea, so shall he lift up after the manner of Egypt. Yeah, the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb. That was the great destruction of the Midianites, and God used just 300 of Gideon's army to do that, to accomplish that. That's showing that God's, it was all God's power to do that. Let's see, like Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar, the Assyrian represents Satan near the end. 1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one, and the rebuke of 5 shall ye flee, till ye have been left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain, as an ensign on a hill. And therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted. That's interesting, because therefore will the Lord wait. We're always talking about us waiting. We're being patient, we're waiting, but the Lord's actually waiting. And that he may have mercy on you, for the Lord is a God of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. And the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lighting down of his arm with the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering, with tempest and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. So there is another picture of Satan near the end, and how God is defeating him. Now this word consumption is very, very curious. Consummation, consumption. Daniel 9:27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consumption or consummation, and that determined shall be poured out upon the desolate. The word consumption, consummation on the ISA is the finish. If we are looked at the final week as being the final 7 years, then we're looking somewhere that this consummation happens would be toward the end, or the final 3.5 years is what I'm saying, toward 2018. This word finish or consumption is also found in this verse. This is Daniel 11:35. And some of them of understanding shall fall. I shouldn't have said it that way, because some is italicized. Omit that. They put that there. Anything that's italicized, the King James people put it there. Daniel 11:35. And of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make white, to the time of the end, because it is yet for an appointed time. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Now, Hebrew 3:617 and Hebrew 3:615 are very closely related. The finish, the completion, the consumption. Nahum 1:7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust him. But with an overflowing flood he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. And that relates a lot to, I think, what Christ said about the great tribulation period, nor ever after that will continue or come up again. So we're in a unique time in history, definitely. Here's Hebrew 3:615. This is an example of the word kala, which is the root of 3:617. It relates to God finishing creation after the 6th day. This begs the question of, will this type of pattern relating to the 7th day relate to 2018 as being the 7th year since 2011? And that's interesting, because it's like the word finished, the consumption, it comes in with righteousness. So that alone shall tell you that, tell people who are teaching the no more salvation doctrine, that no, there's going to be righteousness coming in toward the end, a flood of righteousness. Genesis 2:1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, that's that word, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rest from all his work which God created and made. let's see. Let's see what I'm talking about here. Oh, the judgment shall sit. Yeah, this is when the believers consume and destroy it to the end. We've talked about this on 2011 studies. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his kingdom to consume and destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion of, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Now, from October 21, 2011 Tabernacles to May 24, 2015 Pentecost, it is 3 years and 7 months. That does seem like a divider there. The result is, let's see how I did this. Okay, from and including Sunday, May 24th, 2015, I'm just seeing the divider here. That's what I'm doing. From 2011 to 2015 and 2015 to 2018. From and including Sunday, May 24th, 2015 to and including Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, the result is 1,228 days. I think we're at right now, I think we're at like 1,019 days or 1,018 days, something like that, before October 2nd, the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles in 2018. So you have also May 21, 2011 to and including Sunday, May 20th, 2018 Pentecost, 2,557 days. That's an important number, because you see these numbers of 17 showing up toward the end, and it's really amazing. Let's see, that's actually 7 years to the end date of Pentecost in 2018. So that would have been May 21, 2011 to May 20th, 2018, 2,557 days. Now, that is an important aspect leading right up to Pentecost. And Pentecost is never really talked about as the last day. It's always a time of harvest. It's a time of, that's the season of, like the wheat harvest, that's the season of God's, the original salvation going forth as the Spirit saves. So we have a period then from Pentecost, May 20th, 2018 to Tabernacles, October 2nd, 2018, which is only, I believe it's a 4-month period. It's not a long period of time, and it's 136 days. Now the factors of 136 are 2 times 2 times 2 times 17. There you go again. The last 4 months, the 136 days, you have a time of salvation going forth. And if this is God's work, that would make sense. I mean, his short work, his short logos, his short word, because it would definitely be a short word. A period of 136 days. Let's see, we have to remember 2 verses that would apply to this timeline. For then shall be great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Say ye not, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest. That's John 4:35. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look unto the fields, for they are white already to harvest. This is John 4:38. I sent you to reap that whereupon ye bestowed no labor, another men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. And that's the way it is. I mean, people establish something, and then other people, carry it on. And finally, God's long suffering leads to his short work. This is Romans 9:22. We've talked about how Paul, Peter actually pointed to Paul in 2 Peter 3. Go look at what Paul has to say, because his salvation, he understood God's long suffering. He was the first example of God's long suffering for them who believe after. So we know that if we're in this period since the 7,000 year anniversary of the flood, if we're in this period of God's long suffering, we know that Paul was the one purported by Peter to say, hey, go look at his understanding that God has given him on this. Then we know that salvation will go forth, because Paul is the first example of God's long suffering. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. And he saith also in Osee, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall it be called the children of the living God. I'll jump down to Romans 9:28. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. When we looked at Daniel, we looked at these other verses of the consummation, the righteousness comes in. This is related, I really believe, Romans 9:28. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. A short logos, word. So this cutting short in righteousness is something that is so key to God's salvation plan. And we know that this is related to the consumption that comes, the finish, and how God with a flood comes in with righteousness. This is it, 9:24, Daniel 9:24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So that's where we're at. We've led up to the time of 2015. There's also the aspect we covered before of the year of my redeemed, and the day of vengeance is in God's heart, how that could apply to 2016, 17, or 18. But my focus on the video, I believe, was 2016, so you might want to go back and look at that. I appreciate the people who have supported 2011 studies, who have taken the time to share these videos so that people will know that salvation goes to the last day. I can't thank you enough for that. God willing, these studies will start up again if it's His will. It's right now it's hard to say what's going to happen. I don't believe in selling the gospel. That's one thing I just absolutely refuse to have, a website with credit cards up or whatever. I just don't believe in that. And if anybody wants to contact me and find out more why I had to discontinue these studies, just email me and I'll let you know. But for now, and hopefully God will allow for more time to study, which takes a long time, and then to produce the studies, it's a very long process. I don't mind it, it's very enjoyable actually because you learn a lot as you're editing, as you're doing the studies and studying. The music, I'm trying to get some of the music up on iTunes, and so stay subscribed to this channel because I'm going to be posting some newer stuff and some of the older stuff as time allows, and then get it up on iTunes and people can download that. And that would help. That would really help if people would download some of the music. I didn't want to do that at first, but after a while, I figured that's set apart. That's really set apart from the Bible studies. It's music is music, and there's two sites. There's 2011 studies and there's reimagined music that I've done some covers on. So anyway, for those teaching, and this is a final message for those teaching No More Salvation, please turn from this. Read 2 Peter 3 over and over until God's long suffering for the sake of salvation is seen and understood. Ask for wisdom on this. We're not to bring a gospel of doom. The gospel actually means good news, and the good news is that you can have eternal life through Christ and forgiveness of sins. Eternal life. and we'll transfer into the new heavens and new earth when God recreates these. It's not a fantasy, it's reality, it's coming. Look around. Don't have the red sky syndrome where you can see the weather, you know what the weather's all about, what Christ warned against. And he said that you can discern the sky, you can discern the weather, but you can't discern the signs of the times. You know, look around. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble. You know, just a sinner saved by God's grace. And until later, God bless everyone, and please stay subscribed. I'm hoping that this will continue later on down the road. 2011studies@gmail.com. My name is Marty Catuzzo, and God bless you.